second part of the conversation.
You're a different animal when it comes to other candidates running in the race too. Being self-funded with Tim Scott just dropping out too, all these different campaigns have different types of super PACs that are funding them as well. So you're independent. What do you need to see from the Iowa caucuses, whether that's obviously winning, or what percentage do you need to see of the vote? What place do you need to take to go, okay, I'm comfortable, I'm still running, we're moving forward, my message is getting across and people are listening? What would that look like?
Sure. I mean, the feel I get from people on the ground, I mean, this is our third event today. We have our fourth later tonight in Marion County. And so we're traveling across the state. I already have a good feel that the people here are really behind the message I'm advancing. I do understand that I'm the new guy, right? A lot of people didn't know who I was 6 months ago. So that takes time to say, okay, I understand I like the message, but people want to understand my background, my perspective. Why am I in this race, and what are my values? And so I think over the next couple of months, we're going to bring a lot of those people over as well as we meet them face to face and in person. But if we exceed the expectations set for us here, I think we're going to be on track to do that, including bringing new people into the caucus. That's going to propel us not only into New Hampshire, but into the rest of this primary season. And I'm confident I'm going to be not only the nominee, but the person who can deliver a landslide election in the general election. Again, by bringing young people into this process who have never participated before come into the Republican Party in the general election. I think I'm the only candidate who can do that. It's my responsibility as a new face and a young voice to do this. I'll remind you, Thomas Jefferson, he was 33 years old when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. I think it's going to take somebody whose best days in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days are still ahead of itself too. That's the way I view it. It's not morning in America now. I'm not a false optimist, but it can be morning in America. And I do think that's what Ronald Reagan would say if he were alive today. He wasn't a false optimist either. You got to speak the truth. But the path to recovering this country runs through seeing that truth, speaking it in the open, not as a politician, but in the way that I think real people in this country understand what state of decline we're in. It doesn't have to stay that way, but it's going to take an outsider to turn it around.
When I've been talking with Iowa voters in terms of sending troops overseas or getting involved overseas, whether it is with the Israel-Hamas war, whether it is with funding to Ukraine, they just question why the amount of money is needed, or why do we need all this support necessarily when we got problems here at home. You as a candidate on the debate stage are the one that I would say is promoting hesitancy, I guess, when it comes to funding to Ukraine or looking how to get involved in the Israel-Hamas war, Middle East just in general. Why do you think that is? And I'm sure you're probably hearing that a lot from voters.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm frankly from that different generation. I mean, that generation that's going to be affected by the national debt and the risks that we take on from those wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Those did not serve this country well. It's still the Taliban that's in charge 20 years later. Think about that. Iraq is still a broken country, yet that's thousands of lives sacrificed and $7 trillion in national debt later. And so what's different about me and everybody else in this race is everybody else in this race still believes it's the job of the U.S. to go fight those foreign wars to protect somebody else's border. My foreign policy is actually much more straightforward than that. Avoid World War III. Declare economic independence from China. We can't depend on our adversary for our modern way of life. And then protect our own homeland. Protect the borders of this country. Nuclear missile defenses in this country. Protect ourselves against cyber attacks or super EMP, electromagnetic pulse attacks that we're vulnerable to right here at home, right now. And I do think it is regrettable that the bipartisan foreign policy establishment, Republicans and Democrats both, have spent so much time funding foreign wars and foreign aid that they've left people right here back at home more vulnerable than we've ever been. So I do think it's a generational divide in the Republican Party. I'm on the other side of that generational divide, but I want to reunite every generation to say it's the moral duty of the U.S. president to exclusively look after Americans here at home. It's very personal to me. I'm a father of 2 sons. As a father, my moral duty is to my family, period. And I don't apologize for that. Well, as a president of the United States, my moral duty is to the citizens of this country, not any other one. And I think that's better for the United States, and frankly, it's better for our allies too. And our adversaries know we're then serious about the red lines that we draw. It's a much more credible foreign policy. And I think that's something we haven't had for a long time.
What would that look like too? I guess first day in office, what would be the first step you would be able to take in regards to that too?
Yeah.
I guess we'll just say pulling back, for lack of a better term.
Well, I think it's pulling forward. pulling forward the defenses of our own homeland, move our own military to our own southern border, to our northern border too. Stop foreign aid to Central American countries that aren't doing their part to stop the border crisis. Create missile defense systems and cyber and super EMP defense systems here at home. Be very clear to China and otherwise, you won't be flying spy balloons across this country or a Chinese spy base in Cuba, not sending the fentanyl precursors to Mexican drug cartels that they're pumping across our southern border, killing tens and tens of thousands of our sons and daughters every year, 80,000 probably just this year alone, from illegal fentanyl crossing that southern border. That's what it means to look after our own interests here at home. And I think of that as a peace dividend. The amount that we've been given in foreign aid and the amount that we've actually been spending in military conflicts abroad could more than fund that here at home if we have the courage to actually stand for our own citizens. If you look this week what happened in California, and Gavin Newsom welcomed Xi Jinping on a street filled with Chinese flags. You know what he did? He finally cleaned up San Francisco, has a homelessness crisis, has a drug and crime crisis, immediately clears that up because Xi Jinping's coming. What does that teach us? We know how to do it. These are not technically difficult challenges. More cops on the street, able to do their job without fear of being sued for looking over their shoulder. Bring back mental health institutions. We know how to do this. The question is, we haven't had the political will to do it when it's about Americans, but when it's about somebody else, somehow the politicians have been eager to spend the money. It'd be in reverse under my administration. And I think that's good for the U.S., and I think it's good for the free world, because the best service the U.S. can do to the free world is actually to be strong here at home, setting an example of what is possible when the United States of America is at its best. That's how I'm going to lead this country. That's my moral obligation. And that's why we're in this race.
And just last question for you here, too. I saw that Newsom clip. How, you mentioned 200 events here in the last 2 months. Got events coming up this weekend. How excited are you for the dash that these last 2 months are going to be?
I'm incredibly excited. We're having a lot of fun. We're doing it together as a family. My wife's a hero. She's still a throat surgeon. She's kept her full-time job saving lives. She'll be here this evening with the campaign trail with me at an event tonight and events through tomorrow. Our 2 sons are enjoying it. Doing it as a family gives us strength, and we're really excited. We've gotten a lot of energy from the Iowans. We're meeting daily, and hopefully we'll see many more of them in the next couple of weeks.
All right, Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You're going to be able to watch our entire one-on-one conversation on WHO13.com in just a couple hours here. We're going to be right back with the last half hour of